Hi, welcome to the second part of my series, OpenAI API Quickstart with JavaScript. If you haven't seen part 1 of the video, please check it out. But just to recap, we previously created an API key in OpenAI, created a simple Node.js project, installed the OpenAI SDK, and sent our very first request to the Responses API. Now that we have the basic setup working, let's continue. Let's look at a slightly more interesting example. So far, we've only sent plain text to the model, but the Responses API can also accept different types of input, like languages and files. Let's create a new file. First, I'm going to go back to VS Code and type touch example 2.mjs. Actually, you can see that I've already created the file, so no changes. Inside example2.mjs, add the following code. Let's copy this, and then let's go back here, and I'll just delete it and paste it again. Again, you don't need to manually type all of this. You can copy this exact example from the OpenAI Developer Quickstart page. But if you're still getting comfortable with JavaScript syntax, it can be useful to type it out yourself. Now, this example is different from the first one because the input is no longer just a simple string. Instead of the previous example, input, write a one-sentence bedtime story about a unicorn, we are now passing an array of messages. This structure is useful when we want to send richer input to the model. The role user means this message is coming from the user. Then inside content, we provide the actual content of the message. In this case, the content contains two parts. The first part is text, as you can see here. This is the question we want to ask the model. The second part is the image. This tells the model, here is an image. Please look at it as part of the request. So the full message is basically saying, look at this image and answer the question, what is in this image? Finally, we print the model's answer using console.log response.open_text. And let's take a look at what this image looks like. You can see a cat hugging an otter, and going back to VS Code. Finally, we'll continue to use GPT 5.5 as this is the latest model released by OpenAI as of May of 2026. Now, run the file. Node example_2.mjs. You should see the model describe what it sees in the image. As you can see, the response that we received was, the image shows a warm, cozy illustration of a gray tabby cat hugging a smiling brown otter. The otter is wearing a bright red scarf, and both animals have their eyes closed, looking happy and affectionate. The background is soft and warm-toned. So you can see GPT 5.5 did a fantastic job answering the question, what is in this image? It was able to reference the image URL and really understand what the image was about. Now, let's move on to file input using a PDF. Create another file. You can do so by running touch example_3.mjs. Inside example3.mjs, let's add this. Back. In this example, we're asking the model to analyze a PDF from a URL. The important part is this part. So let's click the file URL just to see what the contents of this URL are. Okay, so this is the link to the input file. And you can see that it's a Berkshire Hathaway shareholder letter. So let's go back to VS Code. Now, it's a fairly long document, as you can see. And this tells the API that we are giving the model a file as part of the input. Then the text instruction here tells the model what to do with that file. So text, analyze the letter and provide a summary of the key points. So the file gives the model the source material, and the text tells the model the task. So in plain English, we're saying, here's the PDF, read it and summarize the key points. Now, let's run with node example_3.mjs. MJS. Right. I promise it did take a while for it to load. I think maybe 30 seconds. But as you can see, GPT 5.5 did generate a summary of the shareholder letter, which seems pretty good. Now, let's look at another way to work with files. In the previous example, we gave the model a PDF using a file URL. That works well when the file is already available online. But sometimes a file is stored locally on your own computer. In that case, we need to upload the file first. After uploading it, OpenAI gives us a file ID, and we can pass that file ID into Responses API. So let's create a new file, example_4.mjs using touch. I won't do so because I already have this set up. And let's go back to Developer Quick Start Guide. Let's go to this part, upload file. We're looking at the Quick Start Guide. Let's copy this, go back to VS Code, and let's just paste this directly. Before running this, make sure dracomonicon.pdf is inside the same project folder. If your PDF has a different name, of course, replace this dracomonicon.pdf with the name of your own file. So let's break down what's happening. First, we import FS. FS is Node's built-in file system module. We use it whenever we want to work with files on our computer. Then here, we upload the PDF. fs.createReadStream method reads a file from your computer and sends it to OpenAI. The purpose of user_data is that it tells OpenAI that this file is being uploaded as user-provided data for the model to use. Once the upload is complete, OpenAI gives us back a file object, so here. The most important value in that object is file.id, which you can find here. This is the unique ID for the uploaded file. Then inside the Responses API call, we pass the file into the model like this. So type input_file and file ID over here. So instead of giving the model a file URL, we're giving it the ID of a file we already uploaded. After that, we add the text question. So input_text, what is the first dragon in the book? So I'm assuming Dracomonicon is a book about dragons. And the full request is saying, use this uploaded PDF and answer this question about it. Now, you can run the file. I won't run it because I don't have dracomonicon.pdf saved. So the request will definitely fail. But the model should answer based on the contents of your local PDF. So to summarize, we've now seen 3 different types of input. So in our very first example, we sent text only. Then we set text plus an input using type_image in example 2. After that, we sent a PDF from a URL using type input_file and the file URL. And finally, we uploaded a local PDF first, then passed it into the Responses API using type input_file and file ID. So this is the key idea. The Responses API is not limited to plain text. You can send structured input that includes text, images, and even your local files. And that makes it much more powerful because now your application can ask questions about images, summarize documents, analyze PDFs, and work with files uploaded by yourself. So that's it for this video. In this part, we went beyond simple text prompts and looked at how to send richer inputs to the Responses API. We used an image URL, analyzed a PDF from a URL, and uploaded a local PDF from our own computer before passing it into the model. This is where the API starts to become much more useful for real applications. Instead of only asking the model text-based questions, we can now build apps that understand images, summarize documents, analyze files, and work with user-uploaded content. In the next video, we'll continue going through the OpenAI API Quickstart guide and look at the remaining examples. If you found this helpful, please like the video and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.